You're lying in bed at 2 a.m., phone glowing in your face, staring at your credit card balance. $8,400 at 22% interest. Every month you throw $300 at it, and it barely moves. You got $50 sitting in your checking account until Friday. Your buddy just texted a screenshot. He made $2,000 investing in some stock. Meanwhile, you're over here feeling like you're doing the responsible thing, paying off debt, but you're one car repair away from putting that debt right back on the card. You're thinking, when does this actually get better? If you ever felt stuck in that exact spot, this video is going to change how you think about debt forever. My name is Mike, and I make videos about how money actually works in real life. Before we jump in, quick thing, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. I'm just sharing what I've learned from studying this stuff. Talk to a real professional about your money decisions. Here's what everyone tells you. Pay off your debt first. Attack it with everything you've got. Debt is an emergency. Debt is the enemy. Get rid of it before you do anything else. And look, that advice sounds smart. It feels responsible. But there's a catch. For most people, that advice is actually keeping them broke. Let me explain why. The villain in this story is what I call the debt treadmill. You work hard to pay down debt. You sacrifice. You throw every extra dollar at it. Then life happens. Your car breaks down. Your kid needs something for school. Your tooth cracks. And because you have no emergency money saved, that unexpected expense goes right back on the credit card. You just spent 6 months paying down $2,000 of debt, and now you're adding $1,500 back. You're running on a treadmill going nowhere. The Federal Reserve did a study and found that people without emergency savings are 3 times more likely to take on new debt within 6 months of paying off old debt. 3 times. You're not making progress. You're in a loop. Here's what nobody tells you. The real problem isn't the debt. The real problem is that you're trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. You're paying off debt while you're still living with zero buffer between you and disaster. Every single unexpected thing becomes a new debt. You're not getting out. You're just reshuffling which credit card has a balance. Let me show you the math because this is where it clicks. Let's say you have $5,000 in credit card debt at 22% interest. You're being responsible, so you're paying $400 per month trying to kill this debt fast. At $400 per month, you'll have it paid off in about 14 months. You'll pay about $800 in interest. That sounds like a plan, right? But there's a catch. During those 14 months, what happens when your car needs $600 of work? You don't have $600. You have zero buffer. So that $600 goes right back on the card. What happens when your dog gets sick and the vet bill is $400? Back on the card. What happens when you need new tires for $500? Back on the card. Over those 14 months, let's say $1,500 total goes back on the card while you're paying it down. So you paid off $5,000 but added back $1,500. You're at $1,500 after 14 months of sacrifice. But here's the worst part. You're exhausted. You're burned out. You feel like you're failing. So you give up and the debt comes right back. Has this ever happened to you? Drop a comment if you've been stuck on this same cycle. Now let me show you a different way. Instead of throwing $400 per month at debt, you split it. You pay $250 to debt, and you save $150 per month in an emergency fund. People are going to hate this because it sounds wrong. You're paying more interest on the debt by going slower, right? Yes, a little bit more. But watch what happens. After 6 months, you've paid down about $1,000 of debt. But you've also saved $900 in an emergency fund. Now your car breaks down and needs $600 of work. This time you don't put it on the card. You pull from your $900 emergency fund. You're not adding new debt. The cycle is broken. You keep going. After 18 months, you're up to about $1,500 saved, and you've been steadily paying down debt the whole time without adding any back. Now here's where it gets interesting. Once you hit about $1,000 saved, you stop saving for now. You take that full $400 per month and aim it at the debt like a laser. And this time it actually works because you're not adding new debt while you're paying off old debt. Quick math. The first way you paid about $800 in interest and ended up at $1,500 in debt after 14 months. The second way, you paid about $1,200 in interest over 20 months, but you ended up with zero debt and $1,500 saved. You paid an extra $400 in interest, but you actually finished. And you're not exhausted. You're not burned out. You didn't give up. Here's what I need you to understand. That $400 in extra interest you paid, that's not wasted money. That's insurance. You paid $400 to make sure you didn't add $1,500 of new debt while you were trying to get out. You paid $400 to actually finish instead of giving up. That's a deal. The math people are going to tell me I'm wrong. They are going to say you should always pay off the highest interest rate first. And on paper, in a perfect world where nothing unexpected ever happens, they are right. But there's a catch. You don't live in that perfect world. You live in the real world where cars break and kids need stuff and life happens. Let me tell you what the real cost of having no emergency fund is, because this is the part that makes me mad. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reported that banks collected over $12 billion in overdraft fees in 1 year. $12 billion. That money came from people who didn't have a buffer. A study found that the average person who pays overdraft fees pays about $250 per year. That's $250 just for the crime of being at zero. Now add credit card interest on the new debt you had to take on because you had no cash. Add late fees when you couldn't pay a bill on time. The real cost of having no emergency fund is $1,000 to $3,000 per year for most people. Every single year. That's way more than the extra interest you pay by building your buffer first. Here's the system I want you to follow. I call it buffer first, then attack. It's 3 simple steps. Step 1. Build a starter emergency fund of $1,000. I don't care how long it takes. Get to $1,000 and keep it in a separate savings account you don't touch except for real emergencies. While you're doing this, pay minimum payments on everything. Yes, minimum payments. I can already hear people screaming at their screens. But listen. If you can't get to $1,000 saved while paying minimums, you're never going to get out of debt anyway because you'll keep adding it back. Step 2. Once you hit $1,000 saved, now you attack. Take every extra dollar and aim it at your smallest debt first. Not your highest interest debt. Your smallest debt. Pay it off completely. Then take that payment and add it to the next smallest debt. This is called a debt snowball, and it works because you get quick wins. You see a debt disappear in 2 months instead of watching a big debt barely move for 2 years. Quick wins keep you motivated. Math people hate this. They say you should pay off highest interest first to save money. And again, on paper they're right. But there's a catch. Personal finance is personal. It's not just math. It's psychology. It's behavior. And humans need wins to keep going. Step 3. As you're paying off debt, if your emergency fund drops below $1,000 because you had to use it, pause the debt payoff and rebuild the fund back to $1,000 first. Then go back to attacking debt. This is the key. The buffer protects you. Without it, you're back on the treadmill. Some of you are thinking, Mike, this is going to take forever. I want this debt gone now. I feel you. But here's what I need you to hear. Fast and wrong doesn't help you. Slow and right actually gets you there. A study found that people who built a small emergency fund first were 60% more likely to completely eliminate their debt within 3 years compared to people who attacked debt first with no buffer. 60%. The people who went slower actually finished. The people who went faster gave up. Let me show you 2 people so you can see this play out. Person A and Person B both have $8,000 in credit card debt at 21% interest. Both have $300 extra per month to work with. Person A is intense. They throw all $300 at the debt. Sounds great, but there's a catch. At month 6, their car needs $800 of work. No emergency fund. Goes on the card. At month 14, they need dental work, $600. Back on the card. At month 22, their AC breaks, $200. Back on the card. After 32 months of grinding, they still have $2,600 in debt. They're exhausted and demoralized. Person B does it different. First 6 months, they save $200 per month and pay $100 extra to debt. After 6 months, they have $1,200 saved. Their car needs $800 of work. They pull from savings. No new debt added. They rebuild their emergency fund over the next 3 months. Then they go back to attacking debt with a full $300 per month. By month 30, Person B is completely debt-free with $1,200 still in their emergency fund. They paid about $400 more in interest. But Person A isn't debt-free. Person A is still stuck with $2,600 in debt and no savings. Person B actually finished. The difference is Person B stopped trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. They patched the hole first. Then they filled the bucket. Which person sounds more like your situation right now? Comment and let me know. Here's the objection I always get. Mike, my debt is at 24% interest. That's an emergency. I'm paying $200 a month just in interest. I can't afford to go slow. I hear you. That feels urgent. But there's a catch. You know what's more expensive than 24% interest? A 24% interest rate plus new debt that you keep adding because you have no buffer. The fastest way out isn't the straightest line. The fastest way out is a path where you don't keep sliding backwards. Let me tell you something else nobody mentions. When you have no emergency fund and you're pouring everything into debt, you're scared all the time. Every weird noise your car makes, your stomach drops. Every time your kid says they don't feel good, you panic about medical bills. That fear is exhausting. It affects your sleep. It affects your health. It affects your relationships. You're not just paying interest on debt. You're paying a stress tax every single day. But when you have $1,000 sitting in an account, something shifts. Your car makes a weird noise and you think, well, if it needs work, I can handle it. That's not just a better feeling. That's you making better decisions because you're not in panic mode. Research found that people with at least $1,000 in emergency savings report significantly lower financial stress and make better long-term money decisions. The emergency fund isn't just about the money. It's about buying back your ability to think clearly. Here's what you need to do starting today. Look at how much extra money you have per month after minimum payments on everything. Whatever that number is, split it. Half goes to building your $1,000 emergency fund. Half goes to paying extra on your smallest debt. If you've got $200 extra, put $100 to savings and $100 to your smallest debt. If you've got $50 extra, put $25 to savings and $25 to debt. The exact amounts don't matter. The pattern matters. You're building the buffer while making progress. Once you hit $1,000 in your emergency fund, stop adding to it for now. Take the full amount you were splitting and aim it all at your smallest debt. Kill that debt completely. Then take that payment and add it to the next smallest debt. Keep rolling like a snowball, getting bigger as you go. Every time you use your emergency fund for a real emergency, pause everything and rebuild it back to $1,000 first. Then go back to attacking debt. This is a system. It's not complicated. It's just different from what everyone else tells you. Here's the bottom line. Debt is not your biggest problem. Your biggest problem is that you're trying to get out of debt while living at zero. That's like trying to climb out of a hole while someone keeps pushing you back in. You're not weak. You're not undisciplined. You're not bad with money. You're just using a strategy that doesn't work in real life. The debt-first strategy works perfectly in a spreadsheet where nothing unexpected ever happens. But you don't live in a spreadsheet. You live in reality where cars break and kids get sick and life costs money at random times. The system isn't designed to help you get out. The system is designed to keep you stuck. Banks make billions in overdraft fees from people with no buffer. Credit card companies make billions in interest from people who pay down debt and then add it right back. They don't want you to have an emergency fund. They want you desperate. Breaking free isn't about going faster. It's about changing the game completely. It's about building the buffer first so you can actually make progress that sticks. Your future self 5 years from now is trying to tell you something right now. They are begging you to stop doing the same thing that hasn't worked and try something different. They are telling you that the extra $400 you paid in interest to build your buffer first was the best money you ever spent, because it's the reason you actually got out. You can't win a game that's rigged against you by playing harder. You have to change the rules. Build the buffer. Break the cycle. Then attack with everything you've got. That's how you actually get out. So tell me in the comments, are you going to try the buffer first method, or do you think debt first is still the way? I want to hear what you're thinking. And if this video helped you see debt differently, smash that like button and subscribe because I'm making more videos that show you how money actually works in the real world.